straight to the top. I just will not stop. And if they wanna hate, just let 'em hate. I speak from the heart.
Welcome back. This is part 2 of my real life conundrum. And so I promised you guys the reasons as to why. Um, when I was a kid growing up, my mom actually passed away. And I had two sisters, an older one and a younger one. Well, after my mom passed away, my older sister then, she decided that she didn't like living with my dad. And as soon as she turned 18, she ended up moving in with my aunt and uncle. Um, After that happened, my dad and my younger sister and myself, we moved. And that I always thought that it was because I was getting harassed as a kid because I was a little bit of a smart mouth, and I like to step on people's toes and push my boundaries and whatnot, but it's back when I was a kid. So, well, like I said, we ended up moving, and it was me and my dad. We pretty much moved like everything from the two houses and whatnot, and we ended up staying there for almost 2 years or so. And then when I was in high school, and this is like I was 17 when I graduated because my birthday's in August, so I was always the youngest in my class. So when I was 17, I graduated, and that's like in June of something. So I still had a couple of months before I could even turn 18. So it was horrible. I had nothing to do. Everybody could, do whatever that they wanted to at that point, and I was still working on getting my driver's license. No, I had my driver's license from there. But my dad didn't trust me enough to actually go ahead and use the extra car that we had because he didn't want to take out this Buick that he had. But so my dad ends up going to jail, and I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to say anything else, so don't ask me why because I won't respond to it. And after he went to jail, the house that I was living in, we were forced to sell it because the neighbors didn't want us to live there. Surprise. And so me, my older sister, and my younger sister, we all ended up getting a third of that house. And since my older sister was nowhere to be found at that point, not in the picture at all because she had run off and was living with my aunt and uncle or with her boyfriend at the time or whatever it was. I don't know. I never kept in contact with her. So, after the house was sold, me and my younger sister ended up having to stay together, and I ended up taking care of her until she graduated from high school, because she was like 2 grades behind me, because we were all 2 years apart. So when I was in third grade, when my mom passed away, she was in first grade, my younger one, and my older one was in fifth grade. So we're all like year and a half to 2 years apart. When uh, let me see. When when the house was actually sold, me and my younger sister, we got an apartment together so that she could stay in the same school, and I would just, watch after her and whatnot. Now, I never got legal guardianship over her. Never, because we looked into getting it, me and my dad's attorney at the time, but it costed a lot of money, and we had to do a lot of work in court proceedings. And since my dad at the time was still being held in the same state, he was just a few hours away, it really wasn't that difficult because all we had to do was just, send him the letters and he could still sign for everything and whatnot. Uh, once that that situation had happened though, and the second house that I lived in actually got sold, and the checks were divided into third, and third. It was actually really close to around my birthday, because I was about 18 or so. And when my 18th, like somewhere around there, because on my 18th birthday, me and a buddy of mine that I grew up store next to, we, him, myself, and his girlfriend at the time, and currently, I think. Anyways, we ended up taking a road trip down to Texas, and we picked up one of their friends, or one of his friends that he knew from back in high school. So when that trip was done, I had such a fun time down in Texas. I actually was considering moving down there. And since I had that one common friend, it was, hey, can you put me up for a night or two, and then I'll go ahead find a motel somewhere, and I'll just go ahead and start a life down there. So I talked, and she gave me the thumbs up at that point in time. This was years and years and years ago. And I remember because I went back to the apartment and I talked with my little sister. And I was like, hey, do you want to stay here or do you want to go? Because I know that, my older sister ran off. I won't say her name. And, mom passed away. Dad's in prison. Like I'm all you have left at this point in your life that actually you'll see on a daily basis, and I'm taking care of you. So do you still need my help at this point? And she was like, yes. So I was like, okay, well then we gotta find. Well, I was like, well, do you still like living where we are, or do you want to like look for a house or whatever? And because I was hating apartment life. And for those of you who've lived in an apartment, you understand why. It's crazy busy at all hours of the night, everybody in and out all the time and everything. So you never feel like you actually have any privacy, even though you have your own rooms and stuff. Um, and so she pretty much agreed and said the same thing, and we used both of our resources together and bought the house that we're staying in together, which is the one that I'm in right now. Well, she was still 17 at the time, and she wasn't an adult because she wasn't like emancipated or anything like that, and I didn't have legal guardianship over her because we never filed the paperwork or anything like that. So my dad still technically had custody of her while he was in prison, as weird as that is. So I talked with my younger sister and I was like, house or apartment? She's like, house. So we started house looking and we found a few of them, and finally we found the one that we liked, and so we set up here. Well, like 2 years go by, and finally we start fighting. We're brother and sister. Of course, we're gonna fight and whatnot. Excuse me. And she ends up calling the cops on me one day because she starts screaming at me in my face, and she's like, I hate it here, and I hate you. And she didn't actually say, hey, well, she, she said, I effing hate it. Well, I'm not trying to say it because I don't swear on my YouTube channel. Um, and so I told her, I pointed right at the front door and I was like, if you hate living here, there's the door. You're 21 years old at this point. You don't need me in your life. You can leave right now. I'm not forcing you to stay here. You've never paid a dime for rent. You never paid any utilities or anything. I've been taking care of you for like this for over 5 years now, and you do absolutely nothing. You have a job. You work at Target. It was bad, and so she took that as I'm kicking you out, and she ended up calling the cops. And I thought we were just having a really bad fight, but she didn't think so. So, um, she ends up putting a lock on her door like the next day when she still has one of my aunts. She has like family photo albums. So, I don't really know too much about what happened with the family albums and everything, but like after the day after, like I said, she put that lock on her door, and then 2, 3 weeks go by, and I don't hear anything from her. And so, like I'm out grilling in the back because, well, I'm out grilling. I was hungry one night, And so, I'm glancing around and I'm looking at my house and the rooms and everything, and I take a peek, and all of her stuff is just strewed about everywhere and whatnot, and the door's left a crack open, and so I push open the door to her room from the outside of the house, and I find the house key laying on the bed. And so I pick it up, and obviously I know what it is because it's the same logo on my house key. So I know that it's, the house key that she just left behind. So I close the sliding door from the outside and I lock it, and I go ahead and I unlock her door and I walk in through my house and I have another beer and I sit down and I grill. Well, fast forward from that and going up to today, like I said, that was like 3 weeks ago or so, and today, on August 13th, on my birthday, my 23rd one, there's a letter in my mailbox from a lawyer from her saying that she's suing me for $75,000. And that's why. So, like I had said in my last one, prepare for the worst but hope for the best. So, worst case scenario, it does go to court. Somehow she ends up winning and whatnot. And then from there, I'm forced to sell this house and pay her probably $75,000. So that's the situation that realistically I'm potentially looking at right now. And so it's just like, I have no clue what's going on or what to do, really. So I just wanted to tell you guys because this is going to affect you as well. And like I said, I don't like to post my personal life and whatnot, but I like this series. I like this account. I put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it. And like I actually like this one a whole lot better than my main. And I just wanted to let you guys know that this is what's going on. This is the reasoning. So just try and bear with me throughout this while I get my life figured out.